Hello there, and welcome to a live recording if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're just listening to the podcast, there is a video version as well on YouTube, youtube.com/ at iPad Pros podcast, maybe. If it's not, it'll be in the show notes. Anyways, but in this episode, we're joined by Riley Hill to discuss Apple's recent announcements with a focus on the MacBook Neo and how that may affect the iPad as their approach and strategies and I guess usage in education and other markets with this new low-cost Mac made with an iPhone chip. So that's going to be the focus with some tangents on external displays and other fun things as well. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can do so over at patreon.com/iPadPros or by subscribing in Apple Podcasts. With that, here's my discussion with Riley. Enjoy. Hey, Riley, welcome back to the podcast.
Hello, hello.
We have had an experience this past week, the Apple experience.
Yes. Absolutely.
They
Great
did
experience.
this kind of thing like 5 years ago where it felt like every day for like a week, there's something new being announced. I forget what that week entailed, but it probably had an iPad in it, and it probably had some other minor things as well.
They did miss something pretty important this week, but they missed a few things. But one big thing we were expecting.
Yes, indeed. They did not. But the MacBook Neo is a thing, and and I guess just general thoughts about the Neo. Neo means new, and I just want to start by saying Nintendo released a Nintendo 3DS called the new Nintendo 3DS. And I still think to this day, it's one of the weirdest, most bizarre things to call a product. This is better, Neo not being in English new, but this is very new Nintendo 3DS energy. Yeah.
And let us not forget the new iPad, which wasn't only sort of was its official name. The third iPad 3 was the new
That's right.
iPad.
Yes. And it was that's appropriate because the new iPad existed very briefly. It was never old because it got replaced within the year.
That's true. It did. That sucked.
Yeah. That I never owned that one. I got the 4. My boss had the 3, and that thing overheated quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then I must say the colors have failed me once again with Apple. Whoever led the color design during the iPod era, like the Nano era, they need their job back because whatever's going on there is just not working.
I was excited about them at first until I sat and thought about it. And it's like, well, we got silver, and everything comes in silver.
Yeah.
And we've got that dark blue, which is like the midnight, which we already have.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's really just 2 colors.
And the pink's kind of pastel-y, but still pink. Mm-hmm. The yellow's the only real one.
Yeah.
But imagine if they did a nice baby blue that's vibrant and deep.
Orange.
And and product red would be good. We haven't had one of those in a while.
Absolutely.
But the price tag is what is just astonishing to me. At education, $500. And I'd imagine Best Buy will have it down to $500 within the year or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or even fathom say $400. I got the Mac Mini, the M4. I got that for $400. It retails for $600. And I can't imagine a reason why this MacBook Neo will on sale in a couple of years end up down there. And $400 is super, even more compelling than $600. The price is just astonishing, especially the thing that we'll talk about later with the iPads is I really wish Apple could figure out a way to engineer a keyboard for the iPad that you could and it's like bundled in with the iPad almost, where it's like this is a low cost iPad with a keyboard that's not doubling the price of the iPad. Like it's mind-boggling Apple's expensive keyboards for iPad, especially when education can't afford expensive. Like doubling the price of an iPad for education is just wild to me how it escalates.
I thought, if I'm not mistaken, they at one point, I think there's a still expensive but less expensive Logitech keyboard that like goes with the base iPad, and I thought that combo was what they were kind of like shipping or promoting at one point. Um, but that being said, if they were to include, I mean, if you include a keyboard with an iPad, I feel like that's setting up expectations for something the iPad really isn't designed to deliver. Um, the
Mm-hmm.
keyboard on an iPad is always been and probably always will be a nice to have. Um, but if you include it, you're kind of saying, well, you need this keyboard to do anything with it. And if that happens, then we're basically at Microsoft Surface territory. And then it's like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, I get that point, but at the same time, I feel like in education, you're learning how to type. Is like, isn't that still a class, like typing class? Like, I don't know, but you might not be doing that on the iPad. You're probably going to the computer lab for that. But I feel like
Right.
I don't know. It's not. It's still versatile with it coming off and being detachable. That's the thing the Neo doesn't have. Is John
Mm-hmm.
Gruber in his ending of his review says, I think I'm done with iPads. Why bother when Apple's now making a Cracker Jack Mac laptop? I don't know if Cracker Jacks are $600 yet, but I mean, the MacBook Neo lived so long that its name becomes inept. But Macs don't have a detachable screen. I could see them
Right.
getting touchscreens one day, but there is something special about just yanking off the screen and walking out the door with just the screen. Um,
It's so hard for so many people to believe, especially these Mac guys. Um, some people actually want a tablet, like just a tablet. Like some of us appreciate, like yeah, I
yeah.
have a Magic Keyboard and I use my iPad like that sometimes, but most of the time, I don't know, 70, 80% of the time, it is without the keyboard. Or
Mm-hmm.
it's with the keyboard I have on my desk. I'm not doing the laptop thing all the time. Like I didn't buy this to be a laptop, even
Yeah.
though it is effectively replacing a laptop for me.
You
There's
know,
a
the pro
distinction there.
move is to get a MacBook Neo and use it as a universal control for your iPad.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think the iPad has always been, and there's an article I want to do that's just kind of stewing. I'm still formulating, but there's always, I feel like there's, if this were a religion, it's like there's Apple before iPhone, like BI, and then AI, something like
Mm-hmm.
Apple after iPhone, and like I feel like there's almost two different type of Apple users, like the ones from before, some ones from before, and the ones after, who like have completely different expectations of what we want from our Apple products.
Yeah.
Some people are fully Mac centered, right? The Mac is kind of the
Mm-hmm.
center of the universe. For most people today, for your modern Apple user, it's really the iPhone, right? And
Yeah.
that class of device is what they think of when they think of Apple. And it's interesting to see those two different approaches to these products, as they're coming out.
Yeah, it's funny 'cause, yeah, I got in for 2006, 7.
Yeah.
I should not have said it like that, but I did. That was when college began for me, and I was such a diehard Mac guy back then with my 17-inch MacBook Pro that I loved to death. And prior to that, I had some iPods that I really loved and still love. But when the iPad came out, it's like, oh, this is something special. iPhone as well. And I slowly transitioned to more away from the Mac. And when I use the Mac now, it's like, it's not. I miss the old Mac. Miss the Leopard days where you have the grass dock and had all
Yeah.
the wild customization that I'm sure you can still do, but it feels not as fun as it used to be. The Mac.
Leopard was I think peak Mac OS for me.
Yeah, yeah, it
I
was up
I
there.
think I would be a Mac guy today if the iPhone hadn't happened. Basically, right when I got my first Mac, like right, the Mac was nice, and it was a nice break from Windows. I grew up on Windows, but the iPhone was completely different, right? The iPhone
Mm-hmm.
was like nothing we'd ever seen before. The Mac, nice as it is, fundamentally, it's the same thing as Windows. So, the desktop
Yeah.
PC is the
What I
same.
loved were the
Yeah,
little
yeah,
Mac utilities that were only on
yeah,
Mac, and the Mac
exactly.
heist days were fun. Of uh, they're just a weird Mac community thing back then.
So for me, I'm still looking. One of the things that makes the iPad appeal to me is that it is something different, um, which is why I always push back against the iPad should run Mac OS thing because we have that we have those things. Like I'm looking for something new and different and approach new approaches to these same problems, right? And that's why the Vision Pro is so
Mm-hmm.
interesting too, right? It's like
Yeah.
you know we have Macs. There are great Macs today. Like let's also have some different stuff too. We don't everything doesn't have to be Mac OS.
Gotta say, MacBook Neo. I built that headless MacBook Air. A $500 MacBook Neo is a perfect Vision processor to add to your cart with the. You barely notice the additional expense of a MacBook Neo in the cart with the Vision Pro. Let's
That
be
is
honest.
true. I will say though, and I'm sure we're gonna read more than one. You know, I'm done with iPad. Articles and videos and all
Absolutely.
that stuff, and that's fine because you should always use the right tool for the job and the tool you want to use. And if you were someone who only bought an iPad because it was cheaper than a Mac,
Mm-hmm.
now there's something for you that you'll be happy with, right? And that's
Yeah.
great. Um, you can leave the rest of us alone who like our iPads.
I gotta say, I gotta say, Ferrite is not on Mac OS. And I don't think it's enabled to run in compatibility mode, and that's the best tool for podcast editing in my book. I don't know who's editing a podcast with Logic. You're crazy. You should get Ferrite and use an iPad. It is the better tool. That's all I'll say there. Matt Birchler said, "Well, if iPads did run macOS, that'd just be a good excuse to make sure Ferrite worked on macOS." Like, sure, it would be.
Yeah,
uh,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. It's we focus so much on Mac OS and the Apple community, but I mean, because there are some key like big legacy apps that run on Mac OS, but
Mm-hmm.
to me, the software innovation is still though like on the iPhone and the iPad and that side of things, and that's where the
Yeah.
iPad's always benefited because it runs iPhone apps, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I've been, in consulting now almost 12 years doing software consulting. In 12 years, we've never been asked to make a desktop app. Like, people,
Mm-hmm.
web apps for sure
Web
that
apps.
work
Yep.
on anything. Yeah. But no one is like, hey, build me this Mac app or build me this Windows. Like, people aren't really doing that by and large anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, so that's why, the iPad should run Mac OS thing always seemed a little backwards because it's like the apps are coming from iPhone and iPad. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's what we want in my mind, right? But
Yeah.
that's just me.
One dream scenario I know a lot of people have in their head is when you yank it off the keyboard, make it run iPad OS, and when you put it on the keyboard, it transforms into like a Mac kind of like interface, and your iPad apps become the Mac universal code of it. And I don't know if they could ever do that in some way. That'd be kind of bizarre, and not everything would translate over both ways, which would make it not as graceful as the fairy tale of that might sound.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're gonna see a lot of that when the folding iPhone comes out, and if you can, if they let you dock that, to a monitor, it's gonna be like, how come the iPhone isn't running Mac OS? Like, how can do that whole thing? And honestly, that's a missed opportunity there for the studio display, right? Which has
Mm-hmm.
its own chip in it, like, which can clearly run Mac OS. So, I mean, they wanted to go that route, make it an
Mm-hmm.
upsell of the studio display.
Totally. I guess if going to college, you can get a Neo, you can get an iPad, you can get all of, all of the Apple gear, relatively low cost. Going to college, it's funny. It's you're either really broke and not having any money, or you're like, this is my excuse to spend as much money as on a computer that lasts me for, forever, kind of thing. Um, it feels like it's one of those two worlds you're living in. So the Neo, I think, will be good for many students in that way,
It's so
and
interesting.
yeah, and younger students too. I must say, because like buying them for your kids and whatnot as their first laptop.
It's crazy that like 2 weeks ago, the MacBook Air was like, that was the value Mac at a thousand
Mm-hmm.
dollars. Like it's already interesting to see that story turn a little bit of like the MacBook Air is the thing. Like, oh, if the Neo's not good enough, then you can upgrade up to the MacBook Air. Like, it's funny that's no longer
Well,
before. It's like, you know,
yeah, and the Monday where they updated the MacBook Air to a baseline of 512 gigabytes, it's like, ooh, 512 gigabytes, 16 gigs of RAM. This MacBook Air baseline is getting really solid just from the baseline spec standpoint. That's like, oh, you're not gonna be storage constrained really, won't be RAM
hmm
constrained. It's a good buy now. And then the Neo comes out. It's like, okay, you're basically $400 for the additional RAM is basically the only spec difference outside of the M chip being much better. But um, yeah, it puts that spec improvement into contrast with how little thing can cost. And the Neo using the iPhone chip is kind of interesting because like you got to imagine in a couple years, there's rumors the next iPhone chip will have 12 gigabytes of RAM. This AI initiative, which is requiring more RAM, has a direct connection to the Neo even being possible because without the increase in RAM, this would not be possible. Like a few years ago, when Apple was like, "You don't need more RAM in an iPhone," this would not even been a possibility, right? And now the Neo will progressively get better and better as the iPhone gets better and better, which is interesting.
if I'm not mistaken, don't the Pro chips on the iPhone today have 12 gigs of RAM?
That might be accurate.
I think.
Um,
Um,
yeah, which is why
but
people
you're
are saying 12 gigabytes is coming soon for the Neo.
but you're right though. I mean, we needed to at least get to 8 to do this. I don't know how well. I mean, it's been a while. It's funny that the unupdated base iPad runs on 6 gigs today.
Yeah,
Runs really well actually. Um, but yeah, Mac OS on anything less than 8 gigs, I feel like it's just not viable these days.
when my wife got the M1 MacBook Air, got 8 gigabytes of RAM because like I was like, that's plenty. You won't need more, and she doesn't need more. But the thing
Right.
I had to do is Rosetta apps. That was the problem child. Microsoft Office, she had installed the Rosetta versions, which made that error message come up of you need to close stuff
Uh,
because Word is using like 12 gigabytes or 16 gigabytes and you're swapping all the time. But once you're running native code, not an issue really. It's been fine with the 8. Um, yeah.
yeah, it's. I will say, it's a great, again, I'm all about the right tool for the job and the right tool for the right person. So I'm very happy this exists for the people this serves. Um, this is the first time in my experience that we've seen a rumored cheap Apple device that actually came in at the rumored cheap device price.
Yeah,
Because I
it's
remember the
almost if Steve Jobs was doing this keynote, it'd be like the iPad day, or the 999
yeah.
rumor and it comes in at 499. Yeah.
You remember the 5C? People thought the C meant cheap, and it was like
Yes.
$100 less than the 5S.
Yeah.
And there's some trying to remember. There's something else. I mean, I know the iPhone SE at various points has been as it's been upgraded. Oh, it's going to be this price, and then it's like $50 more or something. So
And when the
that's what I was expecting.
when the 16e came out, it had quite the price jump.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did. So
But yeah, 600 and 500 education, like this is same price as the Mac Mini. So like now, like you have the option for that $600. You can get it on the desktop level with better specs in a very cute form factor, or you can get on the laptop level, which most people love laptops. So
they do. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. It's a great. It seems like a great product. It's reviewed from what I've seen pretty well. Um, obviously, you got to have the right expectations going into it. But I mean, just for all around general purpose laptop, I mean, I feel like they knocked it out of the park seemingly.
yeah, I'd say so. Um, and the $100 upgrade seems decent, doubling the storage and getting fingerprint sensor.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's not too bad. You the When you do that though, it feels less compelling as far as like if it feels like if you're gonna get this, just
Yeah.
wait for a sale, wait for 500 for $400 and just get the baseline, just be versus 700 feels much closer to like what you can get for a MacBook Air in the refurbished stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but 700 is still decent for what you're getting there, storage wise and a lot. From an education standpoint, Chromebooks are a thing, but they're like $200. How much are Chromebooks these days?
They
Like,
are somewhere around the 200, 300
I
price point
wonder.
still.
Yeah, I wonder how much penetration the Neo will have in mass purchase decisions at schools if Apple could demonstrate durability and if these in fact would survive kids better than the plastic cheap Chromebooks that seem to fall apart when you look at them. I
I
don't know
have
that. Yeah,
I've heard or read or whatever that Chromebooks are much easier to manage than Apple devices still, so that's
I could
kind of
see that.
an
Yeah.
appeal to the schools, school IT. I don't know that firsthand, but that's what I've read. So I think that's
Mm-hmm.
still probably an issue. Um, but I would hope, yeah, that they could get some some level of penetration into schools, even if it's on top of, they already have some with the iPad. If
Yeah.
they just kind of bundle them together or something, like you kind of have this almost a spectrum of devices. Maybe you start with the iPad and go to the Neo or something.
Mm-hmm.
There's room for some creativity there.
Yeah. Yeah, I have yet to experience how hard kids can be on laptops. I just know they can. I wonder if Apple creates a like, here's the school edition that's got a plastic indestructible screen on it. uh,
It's
yeah.
kind of crazy just to think, I would never would have thought, you look back, 10 years, and I just, that Apple would make a decent laptop at $600. Like, I never thought they would have done it, like it seemed, there's that famous Steve Jobs, we don't ship junk,
Yeah.
thing he talked about, but it's like,
With
the,
inflation, it's got to be cheaper than the original iPad at $499.
yeah, and with all the investments they've made in, Apple Silicon, that really made this possible, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
so it's really, really amazing when you step back from that historic perspective that they're doing this.
As far as the iPad, I feel like the Neo name, if this thing sells well, this Neo name will go with other devices. You could have the iPhone Neo, probably replacing the E line, maybe. And the iPad, is this the new name of the next basic iPad? Or they would not do a fourth. They have Mini, Base, Air, Pro. There's no way they would add a fifth to it being Neo. Does the base iPad eventually becomes iPad Neo? Or,
There's
I don't
nothing to
know.
stop them, obviously, from doing that, but I think
It has to be new,
if
though, too, right?
like I would tie it to a redesign. Like if they were going to do any kind of redesign with that iPad, then yeah, call it the
Mm-hmm.
iPad Neo. Um, but there's no indication or rumors of any outside of maybe the mini any iPad like redesigns anytime soon.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, if this becomes a strong brand, just the same way the Air is a strong brand, I could absolutely see that base iPad becoming the iPad Neo.
They really missed an opportunity to have matrix green as one of the colors. I was just thinking
I
about that.
I feel like someone
Oh,
had
someone
to
should
look that up.
totally decal it up to be a Matrix themed laptop.
Oh,
Could have the screen. Remember back when the Matrix came out? Did you do the screensaver? Where was the live Matrix code and stuff?
I'm sure I did at some point. I
That was
have
a
to
fun
have.
time back then. Yeah, early 2000s. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But yeah, I just I want Apple to keyboards should not be so expensive. Like it's built into the laptop. I just wish there was a way to like oh my gosh. Like what's making it's a smart connector. Is that
Yeah.
really dumb expensive? Like would it be cheaper to have some kind of USB-C cable that runs up to the iPad in some less elegant solution for schools? I don't know.
Well, I mean, everyone else just uses Bluetooth, right? So
That's true.
it's not like great, but I mean, it's not terrible. Like it's a good enough experience.
Yeah, the pairing thing is what it gets you, but
Yeah.
you could charge the key. So if you want a dirt cheap iPad cased keyboard, do
Hmm.
it over Bluetooth. It charges via the iPad over some USB C cable, and when you charge it, it pairs it in that same process. Um,
We also have that API for like they opened up that pairing experience like for AirPods. Like when
mhm.
you pull, that experience is open to other third-party peripherals now. So they could do keyboards like that too, just like you get it close to it and that whole
Yeah,
interface comes up. They could. There's definitely things they could do there to make that a better experience. Um, I still just question the signal they want to send if they include a keyboard with an iPad. I agree they shouldn't be expensive. That's expensive for 100%.
yeah.
That is true.
It
But
is like doubling or a third of the cost of the iPad, which is like even the Logitech
yeah,
ones are
they're
$150, I
pricey.
think.
So when I got the Magic Keyboard Folio, I'm trying to pull this up real quick. I got one off of eBay because these things have been around a while.
Yep.
And it actually was an okay price. Uh, Definitely under $100. Um, Let me see real quick. Yeah, it was 87 dollars. I got that whole thing
Yeah,
for.
that's reasonable.
So yeah, yeah, it was, and it's worked great. Um, I know I said this before one of the other times I was on, but I've really slept on that base iPad. Like it's when I actually start using it, it's like this is really really good. Like it's I see why so many people are
The
happy
complaints
with
I
it.
hear are the screen is the main complaint.
You get used
No,
to it.
it's fine. Yeah,
You get
that
used to
is
it.
true. You kind of acclimate to what you're used to
Yep.
or use. And
And
it's funny
most people aren't comparing.
the thing I most love about the iPad Pro is the nano texture. And
Yeah.
when we eventually update my wife's laptop, I think a MacBook Pro would be interesting from the nano texture perspective, just the baseline
Yep.
MacBook Pro, because that's the only. I wish nano texture was everywhere. Like I wish you could get that on the base iPad, but to be silly, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I'd love to see um I'd love to see Apple think a little bit different on the iPad keyboard front. Um if you remember I don't know if there's a way to do remember those bridge keyboards back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that, but I guess without the clamp that could damage like
Did
that approach. But
yeah? Did Microsoft have a keyboard that sat in front of the Surface that wasn't a part of, or it had the option of ripping
yeah,
off from the
this
thing and just being separate, right?
yeah, their most recent keyboard, the name I'm blanking on, but yeah, you can pull it away and it'll
Because
connect.
a redesign, right?
Hmm.
You could almost think of an iPad Neo, iPad with the built-in kickstand, and optionally a dirt cheap but quality keyboard that's separate from it, that's over Bluetooth, and because I feel like if it's in a case, that's what Apple. I don't know. Feels like if it's in a case, it's going to be $1,000. Like I don't know, some way, and then I don't know. It, yeah, I don't know,
Yeah,
and the keyboard like mounts in some like smart connector, not smart connector, but like it could be attached to like a cover for your iPad that like the keyboard can come off of it. I don't know. Some new approach where they can make stuff a little bit cheaper for the base iPad for getting keyboard in there would be interesting.
I think it's kind of telling. Looking at the video they did for the iPad Air.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know why I'm thinking about these things, but that whole product video. I don't think we saw the keyboard until the very end. Like it was the thing that person docked her
Mm-hmm.
iPad into, but the rest of the time, she's just using it with the pencil, just taking it around, drawing on it, and doing things. But
Mm-hmm.
if I remember right, we didn't see that keyboard until the very end. So I wonder if and I think about all the marketing they've done lately, it's definitely been more creative focused on the iPad. Like, draw whatever with iPad, and I know they did some holiday promotions. Like your artwork can be projected. Uh, I think it was in the UK somewhere, but I just wonder if the keyboards will obviously remain. I think that the keyboards are the iPad's almost as much a keyboard story as anything else. Like they probably the attach rate's probably pretty high, but I wonder if their marketing
Yeah.
just kind of slowly starts moving away from hey, turn this thing into a laptop and more into like hey, remember this is a tablet, guys. Like
Mm-hmm.
remember that we're tablets.
Yeah. No, I mean, and the whole family of devices thing where it's like you got an iPad and a MacBook next to it, universal control. They want
They
you to have everything at the same time
they
too.
I think they've said that recently. Said as much. Not they want you to have everything. I mean, obviously they do, but
They do,
that
but yes.
I feel like there was some YouTuber who asked them like, so what's the official recommendation, Mac or iPad? And they're like, you guys know most people just have both and like figure it out. Like we make a big deal out of it, but I feel like the everyday person just figures it out and it's like, oh, I use my iPad for some things and my Mac for some
Totally.
things, and it's fine, you know.
Now, the rumor is Mac might get a touchscreen this year, later this year,
Yes.
with the M6 Pro.
Mm-hmm.
Evidently, that's coming in the same year. Yeah.
I
And down the line, the Neo, I would expect to get a touchscreen. Because I don't know if you knew this, but touchscreens aren't like $1,000 to add to a screen. They're just a little
we'll
bit
see.
more.
We'll see.
Right. Is that a thought that perhaps the touch screen MacBook will have a $500 surcharge if you want touch on
Wouldn't shock me. Um,
it?
yeah, I actually wrote a piece about the iPad is kind of under attack this year. From we got the Neo, it's the first
Mm-hmm.
salvo. The
Yep.
folding iPhone will be the second one, and then the touchscreen
Yes.
Mac will be the third. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
coming after all these specific aspects where the iPad's kind of been the solution, like for a cheap computer, for portable
Yeah.
computer, and
And the
for
Mac
touch computer.
can run iPad apps. And once you add
It
touch to it,
can.
that gets more compelling. I would. And is this MacBook Pro a redesign year as well?
Mm-hmm.
Could
Yep.
There's no rumors of it being a convertible though, because that would be a
No,
wild thing if that was the case, where it just folded completely flat.
the the rumors for the MacBook Pro are redesign, touch, OLED, cellular.
But redesign is vague enough where we don't know how extensive that might be.
I mean, I heard thinner and lighter, so that piqued my
That would be hard to
interest.
be a convertible if it's thinner and lighter.
um,
Because most of the
I
time the
just I don't
convertibles
know.
are thicker, right, with a huge hinge to make that possible. Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of ugly to be honest. I don't. I think there's only a few
Mi-
companies still
and
even doing
Mike
that.
Microsoft did a computer that had the computer in the screen, but also power in the base. And when you like had them both connected, it was more powerful than when you ripped it off and it was in tablet mode, kind of thing. Am I remember that right? There was
Yep.
a laptop convertible thing they did with that.
Microsoft Surface Book.
The Surface
The
Book, yes.
the screen part only had it had like 2 hours of battery life.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but and it had that obnoxious wouldn't close all the way. It had that
Yeah, that's
little
right. So yeah, don't bring it to the
bubble at the
beach.
yeah, exactly. They never figured that out. I am sad actually that I would love to see Apple do something like that. I
It's such
wish
a wild
Microsoft would have stuck with it.
idea of like, here's a computer that enough of the guts of it exist in the screen. And
Hmm.
have you seen the teardowns? Like iPhone, we've seen iPhone Air as well. Like you could fit a tiny little computer inside the screen of a MacBook, I would think.
Yeah. It's one of those products you need to keep iterating on. So it's sad to me that Microsoft gave up because you can eventually uh
Because that was a one and
you can
done
get there.
product, right?
I think it had like two
Okay.
generations.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that'd be the innovative like not merging iPad and Mac, but if you made Mac into a tablet and you run full screen iPad apps, that would be intriguing to say the least.
Yeah, I we would need, I don't check this often, but we would need more iPhone and iPad apps to opt into Mac compatibility. Uh, Last
Yeah,
I
and
knew, a lot of them didn't.
I wonder if with touchscreen, if more developers would choose to do it because it would be more of a good experience versus they're worried about the mouse and keyboard experience. Part of it might be financial too, where they want you to buy it twice.
Sure, that's part of it, I'm sure. I
Mm-hmm.
always said, there's definitely been a few clients I've recommended they turn that off if they aren't prepared to support people calling in or sending in, hey, I'm on my Mac, this does this or doesn't do this or whatever. Like, if you're not prepared to
Mm-hmm.
actively support it, I'm like, just turn it off. But I think, yeah, if as touch starts kind of proliferating across the Mac lineup, maybe we'll see those decisions revisited from
Mm.
developers,
Yeah,
which would be interesting.
would be. So, with all this said, I did not order a Neo because I'm very happy with my headless MacBook Air that I use with my
Yep.
Vision Pro, and I've got this Mac Mini that is used once a week or so for doing the podcast and some other desktop-y things. But rumor has it you might have I presume, yellow Neo may be coming your way.
Am I that predictable?
I mean, if you're gonna get a Neo, you'd have to
Yeah.
get the. You mentioned before we record that you might have ordered something,
Yeah.
and if you're gonna order something, you gotta go yellow. I mean,
I have to.
citrus,
Again,
right?
just
That's what that's called.
breaking down the colors. It was to me the only real option
It's the
as
only
far
color. I
as
mean,
yeah. So yeah, I do have a Neo coming. It's coming mostly for content. I
hmm
and I told you before. I don't think I really have a use for it.
use it
Personally,
with your Vision Pro when you're on your couch, and this is your keyboard and trackpad for your Vision Pro.
I
That's your
could do that.
use. That's how you justify
I,
it. It's your $600 Vision Pro keyboard.
somebody at some point
Or
was.
is it 600 or 7? Which one did you get?
It's 600. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't spring for the
Okay,
Touch
good.
ID.
That was the
So
last thing to do. I think. Yeah.
yeah, I
Especially if you're an Apple Watch person, because it'll just do the unlock too if you set that up.
yeah, yeah, it'll be fine. But I feel like at some point someone I know is going to need a laptop, right? And everyone I know, um, I don't know anyone who's like a content creator or running local AI or anything. Like, people just need a laptop just to
Yeah,
use the browser. It's like, it's fine. This is fine for that. So someone will need it
totally.
eventually. But I have a few videos I want to do with that. Um, that of course is not the only thing I have coming in tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah. Of course not. Yeah, and you should see what the iPad app experience is like on the Neo, of course.
Yes, yes, absolutely. No, I will try all of that out.
Yeah, I'll be
I
curious
I,
how
I
that
really
goes for you.
I really want to, see, because obviously on the the iPad side, we've had iPads running iPhone chips, so to speak, for years and years. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
anything new to us. So, what is that experience on a Mac compared to an iPad? Like, what is that? How do they feel? How do they compare?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I did not read reviews if it got hot or whatnot when you're putting this thing under load and how that all handles. I'm curious on that.
Mm, yeah, because
Probably
it
comparable
has
to
to
the
be
other
cooled.
ones. Yeah,
I
there's
would
no
think so.
fan.
I think the thing is, yeah, these things are kind of these chips are, I think, more or less limited by, at least the iPhone chip, by the chassis, right? Because they're in
Yeah.
these
What you need to do
small.
is you need to export video on your iPhone Air and compare it to what the Neo is doing.
Yeah, it's true. I actually do
That'd
need
be
to
a
do
fun
that.
video, actually. Yeah. The
Yeah.
the iPad Air was also updated. Now,
Yes, it
you
was.
being an iPad
Yes, it
person,
was.
this is what
Yes.
your 12th iPad
Yep.
that will enter your household, maybe.
I am under double digits. I'll have you know.
Well,
So
that's
12.
because you,
It's
you you rotate them out. They don't
I
all
do.
stay.
I do. I have a couple main iPads and then a kind of rotating like third spot. Um, but yes, I did order an Air, M4 Air that should be ready for pickup tomorrow. Um, as we're recording this. So yeah, that should be interesting to play with. It's an M4, obviously. My main iPad is the M4 iPad, so those chips are not exactly the same. So it'll be interesting to do that
Hmm.
comparison too. But I will
And
say, I
what color did
disappointed
you end up
you. I'm
getting?
disappointing you.
Uh
Here we
huh.
go. Yep. I went with blue again
Okay.
because I was gonna get purple. I honestly was really tempted, and I may still, when I go pick it up, be like, "Hey, let me exchange it." But I remembered just how pale all those colors are, and figured it really didn't matter. Like, you can't tell. Like my blue iPad looks gray, so
Yeah, the baseline iPad is got good colors.
it's gorgeous. But the Air,
Um,
not
your
so much.
599 Air will have better performance, although much lower storage than your. What's with the 128 gigabyte storage? That should be
We
banned.
we were
I
happy
don't.
with that a year ago. We were because they finally bumped up from 64.
Uh huh.
Um,
You went 11 inch
yeah,
with this one, right?
actually, I went 13 this time
Oh, you
around.
did.
I did.
Okay. So,
Um,
so you'll have two 13s. Your Pro is a 13. Your current Pro or your old Pro? You have an M4 Pro and M5 Pro, is that right? What's the
all
setup
right,
here?
I'm gonna go down the list here.
Yes, please
Embarrass
do.
myself. Okay, 13-inch Pro. It's my main iPad. That
Uh
is
huh.
my computer.
M5
The
Pro.
11-inch M4 Pro. The M5
Okay.
Pro is the 11-inch. That's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like my phone these days.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, 11-inch 11-inch iPad Air is kind
Uh
of my
huh.
work iPad. Um,
Which is
then I
being
have
replaced by
the
a 13-inch iPad Air.
yes, that is the plan. Um,
Okay.
and then iPad Mini,
Uh
iPad,
huh.
and base iPad. Haven't quite figured out official jobs for them yet, but they get
Mm-hmm.
rotated. And then I
Okay.
still have my M1 13-inch, which I use for testing new OSs.
Yeah. I still have the M1 13-inch, and I've got my 11-inch M4. I have an iPad 2
Yep, yep.
and two original iPads, one of which does not boot anymore. That's my current iPads. Oh, we have an iPad Mini that we got for our daughter. So that's what's in our household. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun booting up that iPad 2 every now and then. What
I'm a
storage did
little
you get
sad.
with the Air this time around?
128
Okay.
because I use it. So when I say it's a work iPad, it means I mean it gets sets up. I set it up with like the work like we use Microsoft Defender for like they use that
Mm-hmm.
for like monitoring your device basically. So like only work apps go on there.
Mm-hmm.
I connect it to the work, storage and all of that. So most of the files I need to access are in the cloud. I don't need a ton of local storage on that particular iPad.
Mm-hmm. It's
So
funny.
I
The
went 128.
iPad Mini also uses the Pro line of chips.
Mm-hmm.
Just found those intriguing. And since they've engineered how to put two USB ports on a Pro line chip, they could hypothetically throw a second USB C port on iPad Mini. Not that they would ever want to do that. I
you
mean,
know,
every iPad would
they
be kind of cool if they put two ports on. Is what I'm saying.
they could do that like if they don't want to invest a whole bunch in redesigns, but that seems relatively minor, to do. Like
Mm-hmm.
to give at least the Pro and I guess the Air another USB port. I'd be pretty happy with that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that would I'd love to see that. Um, no one, I mean, the Neo's unfortunately sucking all the excitement out of pretty much everything else. Like Even like the MacBook Air, like I've seen those reviews, but like it feels like no one cares about anything else right now except the Neo.
It's new. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
but
it's right there in
yeah,
the
I
name.
mean, the name, man. It's
But
yeah. It's a 3-letter name. I mean, which the other ones are 3 letters too. Uh, yeah, the Air I was so excited about it on Monday. It's like, oh my gosh, they doubled the storage. It's great. I didn't notice the $100 price increase until a little bit later. I had forgotten they got it down to $999 on that one.
that that would be a huge story if the Neo didn't exist. Like, oh, they raised the price on the Air now, you
Yes.
know. But now it's like the Neo exists, and it's like whatever, we don't care.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
fine. It's fine.
Yeah. I
Interesting
still
timing
want
there.
them to release the MacBook Thin or whatever you want to call it, or Light. That's
Hmm.
like the thinnest light as possible Mac in like 11 inches or 12 inches. We
Yeah,
didn't get
I would
that, you
too.
know.
It was confusing to me that some people were saying that, like, oh, they're obviously going to reuse the 12-inch MacBook chassis for this. I'm like, why?
Can you imagine? Oh, that would be a fun modder project. You take the MacBook chassis, you transplant the Neo's motherboard into that, somehow connect it to that butterfly keyboard and its battery, and then you got the MacBook One Neo.
Mhm.
I don't know how possible that would be. I'm not technically savvy in that way, but that'd be intriguing to see if that could be done. And I probably not, but
Yeah. Yeah, I
that'd
don't
be
know. It'd be
weird.
fun.
That'd be fun.
I do. I'd love to see that. The MacBook, that 12-inch MacBook, is the most tempting Mac to me. Like if I were to ever kind of switch back to a Mac for my own computer,
Hey,
that
because
is the one that
you're
tempts
an Air
me.
guy.
I am. I am an Air. I am an Air guy.
Yeah.
If I were to
I'm
give
talking
a
about the
choice, I'd be an
phone.
Air. But
Yeah.
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
yeah. I'm the 17e compared to the iPhone Air. I'm curious, like how close those things are in like general specs now.
I
'Cause they're
wonder.
both the
This
single
is
camera solution.
they are, and it got MagSafe and something else it was missing, or was it just MagSafe?
MagSafe is the big one. Um,
Oh, that's another thing I'm curious. I need to sit down and read these reviews. 60 hertz, right? Every every iPad
yeah.
Air review mentions 60 hertz, but for the same price, Neo is 60 hertz. For double the price, the MacBook Air is 60 hertz. No one ever complains about that. No one cares. On the
No.
iPad Air, it's like the worst thing in the world, but on these other Apple devices, oh, it's fine. 60 hertz, still a great value. So make that make
Mm-hmm.
sense.
I still don't really know what the A19 Pro chip does over the E19 chip. I'm looking over the specs here of the iPhones. Both the 6-core GPUs, 5-core GPUs. Well, one's 4-core GPU, I guess. So there's one more
Yeah,
GPU core, but they're
I
very
thought
similar
it was
chips. It
GPU.
appears. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
one more
I thought
GPU core.
yeah, which is fine, I guess. I'm kind of
Oh, the 17. Sorry for interrupting there. The 17e does not have the center stage front camera. They cheaped out on that.
uh,
That was a part of
okay.
every 17. Why the heck do they cheap out on the center stage camera? That can't be that expensive to put that in. That's very lame. Because that's such a fun
Yeah.
part of the iPhone Air experience and I guess the 17 experience overall.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's yeah. I wish if I were more honest with myself and I didn't, I just love computers, right? I'm not a one computer person. Hopefully never will be. Um, but there is a reality where like I just buy like a 17E or something or 16E, and then that's just my phone, and I just don't upgrade it. Like, and that's just because I'm more of an iPad. I'm leaning more into that iPad life, and it's like, but the phone is kind of still the center of the
Mm-hmm.
Apple ecosystem, so
Yeah,
you need
connects
the
to your
iPhone.
watch and all that.
Yep. So like you still need that, but like I don't need an expensive phone anymore. I feel like the expense makes more sense
Just
for me to
just
put that in the
just
iPad.
rock the air as long as you can.
I Yes, and that's sort of an idea. Yes,
Yeah.
I mean,
You're gonna be
there's
tempted by the
things.
fold though, I think, aren't you?
Let's see where this YouTube thing is in a few months. Like, let's see. What numbers I can get to.
Yeah,
And then there's that 20th anniversary iPhone that actually sounds more interesting to me.
that does.
Um, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the E versus the Air. The Air is like the premium E as far as like it's got a single camera, but it's so much better in every other way. So much better. The screen, every other aspect of it. So hmm. So you got the Neo coming, you got the Air coming. Now they announced two displays. One's
Mhm.
basically the same exact display that you already have from like 5 years ago. Is that right?
That is correct. I think the camera's better in theory. They said it's better. It's still 12 megapixels, but they said it's improved. So,
It still has no headphone jack. This display. We discovered that
right.
trying to set up the recording the day that the studio display does not have a headphone jack, which that's baffling me. My Thunderbolt display back in 2011 definitely had a headphone jack.
Yeah,
Man,
but that's not the interesting display this time.
there's an XDR
Yes.
display, um, and so these displays are 5K,
Mm-hmm.
and the XDR one does 120 hertz.
Yes, it does.
And iPads, you did an article on this. Most
I
iPads are
did.
limited to 60
Six.
hertz as driving a 5K
Yeah.
display. But Apple lists 125K as a possibility here.
So what? So every iPad. So like, let me start. So the M
Mm-hmm.
series iPad. So the Air and the Pro will drive, I think, up to a 6K display at 60 hertz. With the M5 iPad Pro, you can drive up to a 4K display at 120 hertz. But but Apple lists the Studio Display XDR as being compatible with the M5 iPad Pro at 120 hertz. They don't say
Hmm.
what resolution though.
Resolution.
So yeah. So I'm
Clearly, you need
yeah.
to go to an Apple store, bring your iPad, plug it in,
I
and see what
yeah.
happens. Surely they
I
wouldn't care
that
about that.
is. I mean, as long does they let you record in in Apple stores? I don't know if the policy
No,
is.
you could
Okay.
probably do screenshots though.
Okay.
You could do screenshots. I think
Hmm.
they won't have any recourse against that.
Okay. I mean, I feel like that's probably the only. I don't think anyone in the tech press cares about this, so that
No,
probably is the only
clearly
way we
not.
find out is me or someone going to an Apple store and trying it. But
Because you're not in the market for this display in any shape or form.
I I can justify a lot of things, but a $3,300 display that's just a display is not one of them. Like I can't.
Because, yeah, I want to love Apple displays, but
Mhm.
they this one the XDR still just has the single input. Like I can't hook up a HDMI source to it, like a PS5 Pro, for instance.
I think it has ports this time, and then two or three other ports, but none of them are DisplayPort or HDMI. So yeah, no standard monitor input other than USB. And as I
Yeah,
recall, like these
that's
things
a shame.
only like sort of work on Windows, right? Like you could use the studio display, but like the camera doesn't work, and like it's not a great experience if you're not using it on a Mac. So if you are a lot of people and want one monitor to run everything, including like your gaming, yeah, this is not the choice
Mm-hmm.
for you at all.
No, and yeah, it's disappointing because yeah. Well, I guess it's probably good because I don't want to spend that much on a monitor right now. Um,
I conceptually like the idea. I think it's probably going to look beautiful, but I can't see a world where I spend that much on a monitor. I'm not a professional,
yeah.
really
In
anything,
in
but not a
college,
you know.
I lusted after the 30-inch Apple display that came out in that era. It was like $3,000, which at that time felt like an ungodly amount of money. These are
Mm-hmm.
more, but money's worth less. But um,
True.
but
True.
yeah,
Yes.
and I've owned one Apple monitor, the Thunderbolt monitor I got for my 11-inch MacBook Air. That monitor had a built-in MagSafe cable that you plugged right into
I
your
remember that.
laptop.
Yep.
It was a nice. I felt so like on top of the world bringing that home. It's like, oh, this is great, sick.
I'm not afraid to admit that I bought my studio display mostly for the aesthetics, like and the build quality, which I mean you're not
Absolutely.
touching your monitor, right? Like you don't, you know, unless you're adjusting it, you never touch it. But like
Mm-hmm.
having a monitor with actual like premium build quality is kind of an experience.
Yeah, for
No
sure.
creaks, no. It's really solidly built. So I
Yeah,
still love this thing, but I don't plan on uh anytime in the foreseeable future.
yeah. I still get a smile out of my Sony monitor that they built it as a gaming monitor to go along with the PS5, and the stand looks like a miniature PS5, and it brings me great delight looking at it. Even though it's a crappy
Nice.
stand, it is a cool looking stand. So
For sure,
yeah.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sony has great design. I love Sony design.
They do. Um, I guess just a couple final things. The Blender app for iPad is on hold in
Hmm.
development, so they can build Blender for the two Android tablets that are out there. What am I missing? What's this market they're seeing for Android? Is there a booming Android tablet market rising?
I mean, I've been told Samsung makes great tablets. I know the
Mm-hmm.
screens at least have to be good.
Yes.
I again one of those things I can't justify spending money on because I'm not really in the Google ecosystem outside of YouTube. But yeah, I gotta admit I was a little miffed about this just because like I saw this like a month ago and I was gonna report on it, but I was like, well, let me figure out why first. And then someone else stumbled on it, and it got on YouTube, and then it got on all the blogs, and
Uh huh.
like kind of go check check the comment thread, guys. I was in there a while ago, but anyway, um, the developers mentioned a lack of funding this year. Basically, is the reason it's on hold for right now, but they still plan on coming back and doing it. Uh, so I guess that means maybe they have more Android development experience in house, or I, I
Mm.
guess it is a questionable uh, decision unless making it run on Android tablets means it also runs on foldables. Then that might make some sense.
Yeah.
But
Is porting Android to iPad OS easy? I don't even know if that's the thing.
it depends on how they're doing it. These guys seem like they really care about like their craft and like uh, the way they build this app. So I don't know that they would use one of the cross-platform toolkits like a React Native. Um, I feel like they would probably go with a Kotlin based solution.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I think they mentioned they expect to learn things building the Android tablet version that they can apply to the iPad version.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would expect around thermal limitations and obviously the interface. There are things they're still learning about how to properly build a touch based interface for this because they said at the beginning they didn't want to just copy paste Blender for desktop and put it on iPad. They wanted to be a touch native experience. Um, so there'll be hopefully some benefits to iPad users in the future, but in the short term, it kind of sucks to not have that to look forward to anytime soon.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a shame. Um, hopefully, yeah, it comes out next year at some point. And I just want to say that we do need to do a full episode on Final Cut Pro 3 for iPad because that came out, and I've been on vacation. It's been a bit, but I do have plans to chat once again with you about that because I know you've been using it, and it's much better in some key ways.
It is.
Yeah.
I've actually been using the keyboard shortcuts, believe it or not, which I never really
Oh. Look
because
at you.
because it works so much better with the monitor now. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I kind of want
Yeah,
to
you
use
have
it
to
there a little bit
resize the
more.
the screen finally, like a modern iPad app. It's-
Yeah, so um, that that's been interesting. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. The whole
Does the jog wheel
back,
disappear when you're on external in any way, or is it just there? Just
it's
in your.
still there.
That's
You can
funny.
you could disable it. You can always turn
You
it
can.
off. There's a
Oh,
yeah,
I
there's a
didn't know that
certain
was
way
an
to hide
option.
it.
Okay.
hmm Um, I'm still a little miffed about that whole background exports thing on Final Cut.
It's M3
So
iPad Pro or later.
yeah, and it's like there was never any indication. Like it was just an iPad OS 26 feature when they announced it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, actually, and I don't think DaVinci or LumaFusion have that restriction to
They
my knowledge.
don't.
So
And there are M1 iPad Pros like mine that have 16 gigs of RAM.
yeah, so that's still don't love that.
Yeah, not great. Well, anything else before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. I think these are going to be interesting times for iPad users. Let's say that
For sure.
a lot of chatter.
We're March, April, May, 3 months
hmm
away from June hitting us, and see what OS reveals we have this year. That it always comes up on us quick. Winter's here, and then it's not, and then that'll be
Yeah,
fun to see.
yeah. I'm so curious what.
Last year
Well,
was huge for iPad. Yeah.
unexpectedly huge. We were not expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
And it plays into this larger narrative, right? Where it's like, okay, we have the Mac kind of coming into the iPad space, but after the iPad kind of pushed itself into Mac space with, all the interface changes, So it's like, I don't know if there's a larger plan here or like what Apple. I don't know where Apple thinks each of these devices should go. You know, I don't know. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
they know or if they're still figuring this out. But these it should be an interesting year, I think.
Mm-hmm. And the Neo joins your computer family as um, you have a Mac Mini, and
Yeah,
then you have a work laptop as well.
yeah. I have a 16-inch. I think it's an M2 Pro.
Okay.
I have a 14-inch M1 Pro of my own. I do my
Mm-hmm.
parents' taxes on that, and then
Okay.
that's it. And I have some Intel ones I
Okay.
just couldn't get rid of. Like I
Yeah.
loved the touch bar, so I still have a
Oh,
16-inch with
that's
touch
funny.
bar, and of course
Yeah.
the 12-inch MacBook Pro or 12-inch MacBook.
Oh, you have one. That's nice.
I do.
I kind
I
of want
turn
to
it on every so often.
rebuy. I want to rebuy my 2006/7 MacBook Pro 17-inch. They can't be that expensive. I just kind of want it for my collection as my first Mac because I sold it back when I was young and stupid or
Oh yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
I mean, you gotta fund these upgrades. I kind of every now and again I get the itch to buy the black MacBook. I had
Yeah.
the plastic one.
My upgrade for my 17-inch MacBook Pro, if you want to hear this,
Yeah.
was the original MacBook Air combined with a Mac Mini of the
Hmm.
time. That was what I
Interesting.
went
Okay.
to. It's like, okay, I want this MacBook Air, but let me also. There's enough surplus from that to get both. It's like, okay,
Nice.
that was a fun time. Yeah.
Yeah, Mac Mini's great. I wish I could justify. I mean, if I stopped buying iPads, I could actually justify it. But the M4 redesign of the Mac Mini,
It's so
I don't
cute.
use this enough to justify it in my mind. But it is such a nice
Yeah.
design.
Yeah. You just pet it. It's very nice sitting here. Um, yeah, I'm very happy with that thing. Uh, anyways, cool. We should wrap it up. Where should folks follow you and see your articles and all that good stuff?
Slatepad.org is the best place to go. Links you to things I write about, and of course, videos on my YouTube channel, which should have some stuff going up this month on iPads and maybe MacBook Neos and things of that nature.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for your time, Riley. Really appreciate your chat about all this fun Neo stuff happening. See, playing words there.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, that's my discussion with Riley all about the MacBook Neo and some implications for the iPad lineup and the iPad in general. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can do so over at patreon.com/iPadPros or by subscribing in Apple Podcasts. With that, I'll talk with everyone again real soon. Thanks for watching or listening.